Good day, Dee Cristofer here, and I would like to welcome you to the instructional video for the Razor wallet. The Razor wallet came about because I was searching for a peak wallet which met my needs. I've been using slim, minimal wallets for years, and I like to keep my wallet in my front pocket. Unfortunately, 99.9% of all Magic wallets in existence are big bifolds and stuff like that, or sort of business card cases, which didn't really meet my needs. So I started speaking to a leather manufacturer over in China called Bashisho, and together we built this wallet to fulfill a need in the market. I designed it out of cardboard, sent them my little specification, and they created this beautiful little piece. It's manufactured in vegan leather, so if you live a cruelty-free lifestyle, you can carry this around with you and know that you're not contributing to any cruelty. Also, because it's manufactured in vegan leather rather than cowhide, we were able to keep the price fairly low while retaining really great quality. It does look and feel exactly like real leather, but we've managed to keep the price super low. So let me show you what you get in your package, and then we'll go over my preferred handling and another handling. And I'm also going to teach you how to use this for a card to wallet where the audience sees a card visually appearing inside, which is pretty interesting. I've also got a variation on that using coins, which was created by Alan Rorison when I sent him one of the early versions of this, one of my samples. So let's get right into it and learn what you get inside this box. Welcome back. So if you take the lid off your box, which I'm sure you already have, if you bought this at the Blackpool Magic Convention where we launched it, you will have found the little instruction card there. But if you bought it off Penguin and you're watching this before your wallet has landed at your front doorstep, this is what you get inside. So you get the wallet itself, which is a really beautiful, slim, minimal wallet with a secret. Anything that goes into this top pocket here, if you pull back the ID window slightly, you'll see there's a second ID window inside the wallet, and that basically leads to this top pocket here. So this is the wallet you're going to peek out of. This is where you're going to peek, and this front wallet here is where you can keep your credit cards. These will stretch over time, so don't worry if it feels a little bit tight. I've made it so that these are the correct size that they can even fit playing cards inside of, because I thought that was quite important, because I know how annoying it is when you buy a wallet like a normal wallet, because you couldn't get Magic wallets like this in the past, and you can't fit like your B-Wave cards inside or whatever. This one will do it. So you get the wallet, you also get this, which is an ultra thin privacy filter. Now, I had the people that manufactured the wallet for me, but I went to another factory to get these made. So I found a factory that specializes in iPhone filters, rather than like the thick 3M filters you'll find in some other wallets. And the reason I went for iPhone ones is they had to be very tough, very thin, and very clear. And I wanted to make a removable filter because personally, I just hit the microphone. I apologize if you heard a doosh. I personally don't tend to use filters too much because in low light situations, like if I'm performing in a nightclub, filters can be a bit difficult to see, and that goes for any wallet. and any filter. It's just because of how the technology works. You need some light to get to it to be able to see through it effectively. And I prefer not to have to worry about that. But I know a lot of people perform in well-lit rooms. They might perform on stage, or they might perform at weddings. And in those situations, a filter is a great thing, because then you know that you can see clearly a peek of the information. But if somebody is nearby and they're looking at the same window that you are, it means that they won't be able to see anything, because these filters have been designed with 180 degree sort of, what's the word? A filtering of 180 degrees. I'm not a techie guy. So it means that if your eyes are pointing toward the filter directly, so if you're looking at it like this, say you pick it up to put it in your pocket, or to take something else out of it, whatever, it means that you'll be able to see clearly through it. If they're looking at it at any other angle, so for instance, if it's on your outstretched palm, closer to you so you can see clearly, they're looking at it at a 45-degree angle, they won't be able to see anything. It'll just look completely black. So if you want to use your filter, I'd recommend putting it in the wallet for now, for the setup anyway. You just slide it inside the ID window. Any way round works. I put the shiny side out. Doesn't really make a difference. That's just what I've just done. So your filter, because these can get finger marks on, your filter has come with protective film on both sides. You'll notice there's two little stickers. So if you take those stickers off, reposition them in the corner, and carefully peel off the protective film, you'll be left with something like this, which is even thinner than a business card, yet very tough and very effective. I've made it big enough so it covers the inside of the window, but not so big that it gets stuck. It easily slides out. As well as that, you will receive one of these. This is one of my favorite parts of the wallet. I've always loved this sort of credit card or business card subtlety when it's been employed in other wallets. For instance, I used a hideout wallet from Outlaw for many years when I was working close up, and it came with a little bit of a business card cut out and stuck to the peak pocket, you could call it, the pocket on which you peek. And I thought it was a really cool idea. I believe it was a Becker and Earl development. That's where it first appeared, but it's been used in numerous wallets since. Now, the problem that I had with that is, you had to put a load of glue on your wallet, which sucks. When you get something new and cool, you don't want to cover it in glue. And also, over time, these things would sort of get destroyed because it was just a little bit. So what I did was I found another factory in China, this is factory number 3, who manufactured plastic business cards and credit cards, membership cards, things like that. And I asked them if they could create a fully transparent card for me. Now, generally they did frosted cards, or cards that you'd hold something this far behind it and it'd already be blurry because it wasn't perfectly transparent. So they found the correct material for me, and then I asked them to make a brand new mold that was a different size to the cards that they make. For instance, here is something that's credit card sized, and here is my window card, you could call it. So you'll notice that this printed section sticks up above the credit card size, the standard size. And the reason that I did this is so when you place it inside the peak pocket, it would lock into the bottom, yet you would have this bit sticking out of the top. There's about a millimeter, maybe 2, that it goes down inside the pocket. So when the pocket gets to sort of this position, the card is completely clear. And it also means that there's no risk of anything getting destroyed because it's just a small piece of something. There's no risk of it falling down inside the pocket like it would do if it was a credit card. It could fall right down inside the pocket, and that's not ideal. So thanks to my good friends over there, we've managed to create a brand new size which is 10 millimeters taller than a standard business card. So with your filter inside your wallet, your card inside your wallet, you're free to put whatever you want in this front pocket here, which is just for credit cards or whatever, and then you're good to go. I would recommend throwing a few business cards in the ID window and grabbing a pen, and then you'll be ready to go. So that's everything that you get. That's the basic setup. So let's go down to the table, maybe over my shoulder. We'll see what happens. Let's go over my shoulder, and I'll teach you my handling first of all, and then I'll teach you the way that you should do it if you want to use a filter. Okay, welcome to my view. So I've got the wallet with the card inside. I've taken the filter out and placed that back in the box because we're not going to use it for this handling. You could, but I prefer not to. So, 3 business cards are going to go inside the ID window. And that's your setup. Place it in your pocket, place the pen in your pocket, and when it comes to performing this, I'll explain my presentation in a bit, the psychometry as mind reading idea, because that justifies having something written down, and it also creates a different kind of effect as to a standard mind reading effect. You could, of course, perform a standard mind reading effect, but because of the nature of my show and the more mystical it is, I tend to do things in a little bit of a different way. So I'm going to explain my handlings, and then I'll talk about my presentation, and you can go away and create whatever presentation you would like to. So 3 business cards in there, the window card in there, the pen in your pocket. When it comes to performing this, you're going to take out your wallet and take one of the business cards out. You can leave the other 2 inside. You're going to hand this off to someone alongside the pen, and you're going to ask them to, for instance, write down the name of somebody that's important to them. You could also ask them to write a question they would like answered by the psychic, perhaps draw a simple picture, and the mentalist is going to divine and duplicate it. But in this case, I'm just going to go for a name, which is what makes sense with my presentation. Let's say our spectator has a very close friend by the name of John Doe. So once they've written the name, they're going to hold the card face down. You're going to place the card inside the wallet, up against this loyalty card, and drop it onto their palm. Now notice that I haven't peeked yet, because I want to get it to a point theatrically where they believe that the work has already been done. I've apparently already got the thought, when in reality I haven't. I've got no idea what they've written. But it's at that moment when they're relaxed that I'm going to do my peek. So I'll take a leaf out of Banachek's book and perform some kind of witch doctor-esque motions. I'll usually discuss a little something in the presentation here, which I will speak about in a moment, and it's done. I've apparently got the thought. As far as everybody is concerned, I know what they're thinking. At this point, I take the wallet out of their hands and I go to remove a business card to write down my impressions. Now, what I'm actually doing is lifting up both of the business cards so that I can see what they've written. In this case, it's upside down, but that's not a problem. I can still read it. If you're performing mentalism, it's generally a good idea to be able to read upside down and back to front and all that other stuff, because a lot of the time you never know exactly which orientation a peak is going to be. But it's very simple to read upside down, and it's even easier with drawings. So I lift up both of the cards, and then I push one back down, almost as if two cards have been stuck together. It's an accident. So this is all while the ID window is facing just me. I can use my body to block, but I'll generally hold it up like this, pull out the business cards, and push the one back down. So like this, I read and immediately push the card back down with my fingers. So I'm taking out the front card and pushing back down the bottom card. And that's how I achieve my peak. Like this, and then this goes back down into their hand. I take my pen, I explain that I'm getting perhaps a male energy here. Somebody is almost like they're a blood relative, and see how they react. And depending on whether you can tell whether you've hit or not. You can quickly look away and say, but it's not a blood relative. Anyway, there's plenty of resources on cold reading, and you'll see some basic reading in the performances. But it all comes down to this. I write down John Doe. And here's what I'll do. I've written this down, but I don't let anybody see it. I will lift the wallet up, drop this down, take this card out, and turn this over. John Doe. And then you've got a sort of ta-da moment where you can turn it over and show that you've duplicated the name exactly. The wallet goes away. I mean, there's nothing for anyone to see. And you're left with a mentalism miracle. Okay, so let's talk about if you want to use a filter. So place your filter into the wallet. You can place even just one business card in there, if you so wish. Now, in this instance, I've placed the business card in front of the filter. So it goes business card and filter underneath. This is because when I'm flashing this, I don't want it to, do this. Let me show you what it looks like behind the filter. So you can see it and not see it and see it and not see it. It's a bit of a nightmare. That does come in handy for the card to wallet, but I'll explain that shortly. So the business card on top of the filter. This goes in your pocket. Now, in this instance, you will take out the business card. I find it useful sometimes if you do find that it sticks onto the filter a little bit or something like that, if it's got finger oil or whatever. If you put your fingers in, you'll be able to feel the filter, and you can pop that down. Then just grip with your fingertips on here, and you can do a similar move to what you do with the 2 business cards and just place your middle finger on the filter to stop it from pulling up, and then you can grip it here and the friction of the plastic on the filter will hold it in place. Now, I'm not sure how well the filtering is going to show up on the camera, but it should be okay. So the one thing to bear in mind is you want it to be very contrasting colors. So I've got a black pen on a white card, so I'll be fine. But if it was a black pen on perhaps a dark brown card, you'll struggle to see it through the filter, because regardless of how crystal clear they are, depending on the amount of light that gets to it, sometimes it can be a little less clear than if the filter is in the wallet. So again, I mean, this time we'll just throw JD for John Doe or Jack Daniels, depending on what day of the week it is. And this goes in just the same. Now, you'll notice that I push the card right down. You don't have to push it right down, but I find that it works best just sheerly because sometimes you'll find people that write on what would be the top line of the card, and I just want to make sure that that clears the pocket. Now, you'll take this back and you can hold it on your hand like this and hold your hand over it. Now, I don't peek again at this moment. I'll just literally toss it, turn it slightly towards me, and place my hand over it as if I'm feeling the energy from the card. At this point, I'll lift my hand up, make some kind of gesture, and then I'll be staring directly down at the peak when I look back down to place my hand over top again. So I'm literally, and you can do that as many times as you like if it's a more complicated name or design like this. You can even turn your hand over like this, as if you're feeling something. Now, if you don't want to go with something like that, you could literally, again, place it on their hand. Try and decipher what it is they're thinking of by using some cold reading, and then you can pick the wallet up, turn it towards yourself, and just gesture with the wallet. As long as it's not facing them like this, they won't be able to see a thing. You see if you've got it directly pointed towards your eyes or pointed towards the lens, it's perfectly clear. If it's tilted slightly, and this isn't because of the lighting reflecting off there, it actually becomes completely black. You see? So this means that if you're holding the wallet, and I can see this perfectly, you can still see the window, but it looks completely black. So you could, in fact, have them outstretch their arm, like so, and place the wallet on top of it, so it's directly underneath you. I can't see anything here, even though it's sat upon my palm. So if you wanted to do it like that, get them to hold their arm outstretched, place the wallet down on top, or you could place it on the table in front of you. As long as you're looking directly down at it and they're looking at it at an angle, they won't be able to see anything. You will be able to see everything. And then when it comes to the reveal, you can say to them, I believe that the person you're thinking of has the initials JD, or it's John Doe, or whatever. And then at that point, you can take the card out and verify it. Now, what you could also do if you didn't feel comfortable placing it onto their hand, or if you don't like this sort of witch doctor stuff, you can actually peek it when it goes into your pocket. So let's place this card back inside. You take it off them, and you'll go to your inside pocket, and I got a peek perfectly just then. So all I'm doing is keeping the window face down. I turn it towards myself so it comes into contact with my eyes as I look down to find my pocket. Like that. It would work in the top pocket as well. Or alternatively, again, you can just gesture with the wallet during your script, and you'll be able to get a peek then. Like I say, I prefer my sort of multi-business card handling, but this is really effective in well-lit environments, and it is very, very deceptive, especially when you have the window card inside that pocket as well, because then in their mind, the information is going up against a solid card. They don't know it's see-through. What cards look like that? It's going up against a card, then up against a solid piece of leather, another solid piece of leather, and then there's nothing in this pocket, because that's where the business card came from. So that's two handlings on getting the peek. Again, with the filter, it can go in their hand as long as their hand is outstretched. It can go down on the table. You can hold it in your hand like this. I would recommend not holding it 180 degrees to them, because sometimes, depending on the angle they're at, they might be able to see. So always keep it, the filter has been designed to be seen from this way. So always keep it perpendicular. Or you can get your peek when it goes into the pocket, or you can use my multi-business card peek. All are equally as effective, and you'll see in performances the way that I do things. But now let's move on to talking about this psychometry as mind reading idea, just to get that out of the way, and then I can show you what it looks like to make a playing card appear visually inside the wallet, and how you can use that to your advantage to create a card to wallet. Okay, so now you understand the mechanics of the peeking with the wallet. Let's talk a little bit about presentation. Now, of course, you're free to present this in any way that you choose, but I'd like to talk to you about how I present it. Now, over the last few years, I've gone from reading minds to doing something slightly differently. Like, my entire act is based around energy, and what that allows me to do is many other things as well as just mind reading, but I won't go too in depth. The way that I present the wallet is in a slightly different way to how most would, and the concept, I call it psychometry as mind reading. Psychometry is essentially the energy stored within items. So you might have seen in movies, or if you've been to see psychic shows, often somebody will bring something along, for instance, like in this case, a playing card from a deck, or it might be a ring or a key, and the psychic holds onto it, and they're able to get impressions on perhaps who it belonged to, or other things related to the item itself. So I took that concept and I've made it into something that allows you to present thought reading using this in particular, and it also justifies having something written down. So really, I'm not going to go too in depth. I'll explain my process, but if you like the idea, Astral Psychometry has a chapter in there all about psychometry as mind reading. So the basic presentation, you'll hand a card to someone, ask them to write down something important. So not like make a random drawing or write a 10-digit number or whatever. You're going to ask them to think of something important. So I usually choose the name of somebody that's important to them. They write down the name, it goes into the wallet, it goes onto their hand, whatever way you want to present the mechanics. and then you're going to say a little something to them. And this is psychometry at its core, really. So you're going to hold your hand over the wallet and just explain something that they know to be true or that they have heard in the past, and then tie it to something that you want them to believe to be true. So you're going to hold your hand over here and say the following. In some cultures, people believe that in taking a photo of you, it steals a part of your soul. The same thing happens when you write something down that has an intense emotion tied to it. Not only does the ink soak into the fibers, but also a bit of that residual energy seeps into the card as well. If I can understand this energy, I should be able to figure out what it is that you're thinking of. Now, that little script, obviously, you can change it however you like. Essentially talks about, a very common thing that a lot of people have heard. If you take a photo of someone, it steals your soul. Some cultures around the world believe that still to this day. And it ties it to the idea of writing something down that's got some importance. And I really like this because it takes all of the heat off everything, and it justifies having it written down. It does so by essentially saying, without you writing this down, I'll struggle to get this energy until the energy exists in the card, and I can hold my hand over that and try and feel those vibrations. I won't be able to get that thought. So you'll see this in performances. But I just wanted to quickly break it down here and explain why I do what I do in performance there. But obviously, this is just a peak device. You can present it in any way you like. If you have a more psychological angle, of course, do your thing. But that's just a brief explanation of the way that I use psychometry to create a thought reading effect. Okay, so that's sort of all the peaking stuff out of the way, all of the mentalism. I did want to include something for magicians as well, people that don't really do any kind of mind reading. And the card to wallet is a classic effect. Now, usually with the card to wallet, the magician will have a card lost in the deck, or they'll make a card vanish, and they'll pull out their wallet, open it up, undo a zipper, pull out an envelope, pull the card out of the envelope, it's their signed card. Now, with a minimal wallet like this, we don't have the option to do that really. I mean, you could have an envelope stuck in here and you could load it in through the back, whatever you want to do. But, it doesn't have zippers and all of that. But what it does have is this filter. Now, this filter is great for the purpose of peaking, but what it also is good at is making things appear and disappear. Now, if you think about the way the filter works, when you're looking directly onto it, you can see what's inside. Whereas if you're looking at an angle, you cannot. So I thought about this and I figured that you could use that technology, the idea of simply tilting something to make something appear inside. So to do this, you'll have to construct a little gimmick. Here's quite possibly the simplest gimmick in the entire world. You're going to bend a card in half. I'm using some of these Honeybee Elites. And fold it just like this, slightly off center, just very slightly. That's just to give the impression of a fully folded card. Now, the reason that I tear it in half is when you actually take a playing card and fold it into quarters and put it inside the wallet, it creates a bit of a bulge. I'm not sure how clearly you can see that on camera, but it's not ideal, and that's due to the springiness of the card. I mean, you could iron it flat, but I wouldn't bother when you can just do this, and it's a lot simpler. So you'll place this with whatever way it looks best, so with the little corner sticking out, underneath the filter. You've got your little card gimmick inside the wallet underneath the filter, just like so. Hopefully you can see that due to the light. Close-ups, close-ups. I'm gonna write my initials just down on a card. So you can have a card selected in any way you like. Blah, blah, blah. Choose a card. They chose the King of Diamonds. They've written their name on top of that card. Now, what we're gonna do is have them place the card back in the deck. They place it back in the middle, and I dribble the cards on top, but I leave a step. So let me show you that from the side. So that's their selected card, and rather than starting the dribble, I'll put my finger down, rather than starting the dribble there, I start a little way back, like so, to create a bit of a mess. But what that does is it creates a step that allows you to immediately get a thumb break. I'm going to cut the bottom half of the bottom pack and then cut the rest of the bottom pack, everything below the break, and this brings our selected card to the top. I'll turn the cards over, and now under misdirection, so I'll maybe draw attention to the wallet or make a joke or something like that, I'm going to execute a Mercury fold. So to do a Mercury fold, you're going to put your thumb slightly lower than it usually would be, so you might hold a deck of cards in a biddle grip like that, a little bit lower. You're going to use the top of your index finger to pull on this card. So you're just going to contact with the top edge, pull that down so that it's bent completely in half, and you're going to press with your thumb, which allows you to bend the card over, so you've got it in quarters now, and push it against the bottom of the deck of cards. At this point, you can cop this away, so in like a finger palm, you can cop this away and hand the deck of cards to someone to shuffle. You, of course, have their card hidden in your hand. When they've done shuffling, ask them to place the cards on the table, and you're going to do this with the wallet. You're going to place the wallet on top of that hand so that you're staring at the ID window. Now, place your fingers over the card in the ID window and hold it up. Now, the idea here is you're going to be holding it tilted slightly at around their eye level, and you have their card hidden behind. So, I move this up to their eye level. I can't move any further up the frame. So I'm going to do it in the reverse way here. So you should see just black here. You can do this below their eye level or above their eye level, but I recommend doing it at their eye level because then it's a lot easier to figure out the angles. So all I'm going to do is make a gesture like this and go like that. And all I'm doing is just pulling back. Or if you're up, you can pull down. So it's just that little motion that makes it look like the card visually appears inside. Like that. And then I can reach my fingers inside. I reach over the filter, because that means that I'm not going to accidentally pull out the card. and take the hidden card from behind. I'm pinching down here, just like that. The wallet goes away. They open the cards, and it is their card that visually appeared inside the wallet. So Alan Rorison had some interesting ideas on this. He really liked the idea of using the privacy filters to make things appear and vanish. He suggested if you took some photo paper and took a photo of a load of coins, printed that on the photo paper about the right size to fit inside the wallet underneath the filter. What this would allow you to do is get a coin signed, do a false transfer, drop their actual coin into the front of the filter. As you take your wallet out, the coin vanishes, transports to the filter, and they can see their signature in amongst all these other coins. Now, by doing that little move or a shake and tilting, it'll make it look like all the other coins vanish aside from their coin, which you can reach in, take out and hand back to them. So that's a really cool little variation on making things appear and disappear in the wallet. It's worth having a think about it, because I don't think anybody's used filters in that way before, because they tend to be used purely by magicians, but I think the idea, mentalists. But I think the idea of making things appear and disappear by using this technology is something quite useful. So you might enjoy it. Anyway, that is how to make a card visually appear inside the wallet. So that is it. We have reached the end of our journey. It's such a simple tool to make use of, so I couldn't stretch this out too far. But I've taught you a couple of ways to peek using the wallet. I've taught you a basic card to wallet, how to make things appear and vanish using the filter technology. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll play around with it and find your own handlings and figure out your own routines for this, because it's a very versatile little toy. I mean, really, I created a wallet for my specifications and needs. I wanted something that looked like this, so I found a way to make it do magical things. So I hope you enjoy it. I mean, it's a slim, functional wallet that can fit in any pocket. It's also quite unisex, really. I mean, it's a credit card holder, basically. So you could throw this in your bag or your bigger purse if you're a female, and you can throw it in your front pocket, your back pocket, your jacket pocket, whatever you like, if you're a male. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get some use out of it, and I will see you next time.